Hey everyone, in this video I'm going to do a really interesting comparison of two of the best automakers in the world. I'm going to compare Ferrari, ticker symbol RACE, with Tesla, ticker symbol TSLA. I'm going to compare these two stocks on several financial metrics and then answer which one is the better stock to buy. You're not going to want to miss that, and I think you're going to be surprised at some of the comparisons here of the financial metrics. So let's get right into it, starting with revenue here. So this really shows the difference between these two companies. Ferrari's revenue annual came in at 5.37 billion in its most recent year, whereas Tesla came in at 81.46 billion. Ferrari really limits production on purpose to maintain exclusivity and brand luxury. Tesla, meanwhile, tries to ramp up production as much as possible, wants to reach mass scale in production. Two different strategies here, and it's really showing up in some of the other metrics we'll talk about later, which is in profit margins and cash flow. And speaking of profit margins, what I have here is a chart of the gross profit margin, Ferrari in the purple and Tesla in the orange here. And look at this dramatic difference. Ferrari is selling its cars at a 50% gross profit margin. Meanwhile, Tesla only 19.34% in its most recent quarter. And given all of the price cuts that Tesla has implemented in recent months, I would not be surprised if this gross profit margin for Tesla falls even further. So really highlighting the difference between these two companies. Ferrari able to sell its cars at very high profit margins because of the legacy, because of the brand power, because of the decades of reputation it built with consumers. Tesla, not so much. Not so much. A relatively new company compared to Ferrari. And given all of the competition that Tesla faces, it's facing pressure to lower prices in order to generate sales. The next metric I wanted to highlight is the cash flow from operations to sales over the trailing 12 months. And again, similar story with Ferrari, considerably ahead of Tesla at 25.86 compared to 15.39% for Tesla. Now, I know looking at Tesla compared to Ferrari really makes Tesla look bad because Ferrari's performance is so impressive. But don't get fooled here. Ferrari and Tesla are two of the best in terms of manufacturer and sellers of cars, right? If I was to put 10 other companies here included in this list, you would see Ferrari and Tesla near the top and everybody else way below. So Tesla would look a lot more impressive if I compared it with like Ford and GM and Honda and all of those others, Lucid, Rivian, and I included a bunch of other automakers, it would look a lot more impressive. But because Ferrari is right at the top, it makes Tesla look bad when it's not really bad. In fact, Tesla has had phenomenal performance, especially if you consider it's a relatively new company and how quickly it's been able to ramp up production, ramp up profitability, ramp up cash flow. I just wanted to make that point because comparing Tesla to Ferrari really makes it look worse than it actually is. And again, here what I have is a chart of the operating profit margin over the trailing 12 months, and similar story with Ferrari considerably ahead of Tesla at 24.81% compared to 14.99% for Tesla, and Tesla's moving lower, and I wouldn't be surprised if Tesla continues to move lower given all of the discounts it's had to offer to spur consumer demand. And finally, let's look at valuation, and I chose to use the forward price to earnings ratio. And given this metric, Tesla is more expensive than Ferrari, trading at a forward PE of 52.58 compared to a forward PE of 40 for Ferrari. Now, this could be for a few reasons. Number one, Ferrari still hasn't done the major conversion over to electric vehicles. It still primarily sells internal combustion engines and hybrid vehicles, and its management has said by 2030, 80% of its cars are going to be hybrid and electric vehicles. However, it still needs to make that transition, and investors are curious if it can still generate these types of profit margins when it makes that conversion. Secondly, Ferrari sold less than 14,000 units last year in 2022, and it's purposely restricting, constraining production. So it's not going to be the type of company that can scale up and sell millions of cars. That's not the business. That's not the business model. So the potential for growth and expansion is more limited for Ferrari compared to Tesla, which can grow to millions and millions of units sold. And even if the profit margin per vehicle is lower, it can make up for it by selling millions more vehicles. However, given everything that we've considered, I would choose Ferrari over Tesla right now. I love the profit margins that Ferrari generates. I'm okay with the lower potential. I like that it's relatively recession proof. So even if we enter a big recession, which is the risks are rising of that in the near term, I think Ferrari's sales will hold up better than Tesla's sales. So for all those reasons, I would pick Ferrari over Tesla as the better stock to buy right now. All right, but that's all I've got for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I want to thank the Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. Visit fool.com/Parkev for the 10 best stocks to buy now.